This it's the Wrestling Underground podcast Tuesday edition with yours truly, Chad Porto, and joining me as always is the glorious one, Marcus Green. Marcus, how are you?
Audio.
We're tearing up because we're thinking of Sons of Anarchy scenes, and I just realized, I was like, Marcus, why are you looking up all the depressing scenes? And I realized, oh wait, which other scenes would there be? That show is dark.
What was that one? And I forgot what. I mean, I feel like you're the freaking episode guy for Sons of Anarchy. He's that versed on the show. What was that when that episode they was going somewhere and their bikes got stolen or their bikes got jacked by a cop and they had to go get them back.
Yeah, okay. I think that was season one. They were making a run out to the desert, and the cops were a part of some type of motorcycle chop shop. And they came by at
Yeah.
night and broke into the impound lot. And the two guys like, "What are you doing? You can't be here!" And Jax just like took I think it was a flashlight to their faces, and like the other guy goes, "No, no, it's all right. Just take whatever you want. I don't get paid enough."
I just I brought up that scene because you were talking about happy moments. That was one time where all of them like just had fun like as a club. And I don't think they killed anybody with that.
No, no, just the dude's face got
Yeah.
wrecked, like
Yeah,
Joey
yeah,
Mercury on a ladder.
yeah. I just remember them having a really fun scene. Like, oh, these are just a band of brothers that just get off into scrupulous stuff. This is the last time we'll see them all happy like this.
All right, my favorite line. I think it was Tig to oh god, what was Juice, and Chibs was there because Chibs was always running with Juice, and Tig's like, and listen, if he gives you any trouble, just take him out. And he's like, take him out? You mean like kill him? Tig's like, no, on a day, by mistake, give him a rim job. Yeah,
Oh,
kill him.
okay. I'll say if I could top that because I also went looking for these scenes for whatever reason. Call me a widow if you must, people, not chat, just people. Um, the scenes where they brought in Tig's girl for the first time.
His daughter?
No,
Oh,
what
oh,
what
oh,
what's his
his
name?
love interest. Yes. Walton
Angel.
Goggins. Yeah.
Walton Goggins is Angel, and they had to use all those interactions when they brought because when the kid stumbled in, and they had to, and he was like, uh, everybody was like, "Hey man, it's not gay. We do it all the time." And they went around. Yeah, me too. Yeah, twice this morning, bro.
I love the fact that that dude had like 30-pound prosthetic tits.
And worked it like he was a real person in the trance. I mean, he sold the hell out of it. And Tig looked at him like he was a Disney princess.
Gives Snow White a whole new meaning. So let's talk about NWA Powerrr. So there was a controversy this week. Jim Cornette said something offensive. Holy shit. Now, did you actually go and find the quote that they cut?
No, I was specifically waiting for the show.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys can tell. One of us is white, one of us is black. And me, as the resident black man on this show. Wait, no, I got that wrong. What's the script say? Oh, I'm the white guy. Oh, I get that confused sometimes. As the resident white guy, sometimes I like to parlay off of Marcus's different perspectives. Just try to see if this nonsense is nonsense or if this nonsense has merit. Now, full disclosure, Marcus and I don't always have the same viewpoints on things, but there's always respect regardless of if there's a disagreement or not. So I think this is dumb, but this is my perspective, and I want to hear what you have to think. The line that Jim Cornette said that ended up getting the episode pulled for about an hour, maybe two, and like here's the thing. It should not have taken this long to edit it. And secondly, it should not have even made it to air if it was that offensive. Right? Like, damn. So the line was I forgot who it was about and how they set it up. It was about Trevor Murdoch. It was in the opening match, and he said Trevor Murdoch can take care of himself. Trevor Murdoch's the kind of guy that could strap a bucket of fried chicken to his back and motorcycle through Ethiopia and be fine. Now, Marcus, as a black man, does that line offend you?
No, it doesn't offend me. And as you were saying the joke, I completely envisioned it in my head. And
It's kind of funny.
I
Just
imagine,
Trevor Murdoch just
I
on
imagine
a little scooter.
Tre- Trevor Murdoch riding through Ethiopia with the Suns. he's,
But
the, he's the one in the back with the chicken.
he's got
Damn it.
the chicken. And he's on like a little moped, but it's like a tiny moped that like the grizzly bears ride in the circus. So like it's like really small. Don't know why I find that funnier.
It's
But
just, I,
the lot,
you get,
yeah. Go on.
yeah, you get the why of it, but it's like it's a joke, and it's like, but come on, we know what the times we living in, and Jesus, and this dead horse we've beaten to death more times than Shang Tsung did with those souls in the first Mortal Kombat.
Your soul is mine. God, Johnny Tsunami was a really crotchety old bitch, wasn't he?
Your soul is mine, Bono.
Hey, Kimmo, your soul's mine. I love that, man. So I don't get the faux outrage. I feel like a lot of it when it comes to Jim Cornette is, and now listen, Jim Cornette's not a politically correct human being. God dang shocker, right? Like, holy fuck. And to be fair, it's not exactly like we're the most concerned people on the airwaves. We make our jokes. We like to pile on certain people. AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Nazi fucking. We have jokes that we beat to death. Gay community. But I like to imagine that we are kind of a wide spectrum of things that we insult. I don't think anyone's going to be all that mad because some dude fucked a Nazi if we're going to make fun of the Nazi fucking, right? Like, we're not picking on a handicapped kid. We're not picking on a fat kid. We're not picking on AJ Styles' stupid fucking haircut. We're making fun of the fact that Seth Rollins fucked a Nazi. I think that's fair. So when I look at Jim Cornette, I wonder if people are truly offended by him, or if there's a personal vendetta there that extends beyond just the general scope. Because there's this general ideology with Cornette that he's a racist. And to be fair, I don't think he is, because you have to understand that the term racist has a specific meaning of hate-filled intent. I don't think Jim Cornette hates people who look different than him. I don't. He might be bigoted, he might be prejudiced, but he's not racist.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of maybe a lot of unpurposeful ignorance there because, like I've talked about it before, you can't give somebody an experience.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't know how that would relate to somebody else because he's literally not had that experience. All intents and purposes, he is just a really opinionated, loudmouth redneck. When you get down to the bare bones of it, who's probably not necessarily been in a lot of environments to know or given a damn to do the research to know, all these potential offenses that could, you know, happen with other races. He's, very much astute in wrestling, and whether it's somebody black or white or in between or what have you, he's gonna go at them with the same cornetness that he would anybody else. It just, I think with Jim Cornette, people are always on the ready to catch him in some stuff
Mm-hmm.
because, and again, I think this is a part of what he said too. And we talk about this all the time. Just because you don't like something, that doesn't make it wrong. But we are in the time of if I didn't like it, then it's either illegal or it's sacrilege or whatever they want to excuse it to condemn it. And I think with Cornette, it's like, oh, we knew you there for Cornette, you racist, bigoted SOB. Well, we got him again.
Just a big giant dining hall with giant "You're a racist" fucking banners hanging there. Someone sitting in the chair. Jim Cornette, I knew you'd come.
Exactly. Oh God, we so many skits to do. Um, skits. Like I felt the same way, and I don't remember the exact joke. I get why. I mean, of course, under the WWE banner, none of that stuff can fly because they're PR hounds. But the joke, and we just got through talking about him. We're gonna now call him Muscles, Abraham Washington.
Muscles Ham Washington, you mean?
Muscles Ham Washington. When he made the Kobe joke, it was funny.
The thing with humor is it's subjective. And there is such a thing as dark humor. And people aren't always going to be kind of vibing with the same humor. And I go back to something Ricky Gervais once said. Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right.
Yep.
You're allowed to be offended. I'm never going to tell someone you cannot be offended. You are allowed to feel the way you feel. But also, fuck you, I don't care. Like, I don't know what you want me to fire somebody? No, fuck that noise. Like, you just need to fucking deal with it, all right? Like, you want to not watch and be indignant and just be like, hey, go ahead. Bugger off. Go hang out with the old Disney cartoons down at the end of the pier. I was going to say dock, and then I was going to say pie. It came out all fucked up. But like, go hang out down there and just kick dirt into the ocean because I don't care. Go be offended. I don't give a fuck. We're too worried about being offended. I'm offended. That was offensive. I don't care. Don't.
It's the it thing. It's the it thing. It's the Jordans of emotions right now.
We get offended at the dumbest shit. And we don't have the balls or the attention span to actually care about the shit that matters. Randy Orton sexually assaulted his coworkers, and none of these fans give a flying fuckeroni. But Jim Cornette makes an off-colored, pun intended, joke. And that's the hill you're going to die on? He made a racially insensitive joke, but Randy Orton has been accused of sexual misconduct. But one you're going to get fired, the other one you're going to buy pay-per-view tickets to. Okay. I think we've missed the thing called perspective. Y'all don't have it. Y'all need it. Fuck.
Well, when half the audience will readily admit they sleep with one of them as opposed to, run their call with to the other one.
Well, Jim Cornette is a very attractive man, so I get it. Cackle, 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 cackle. Agent Stahl was shot in the back of the head by Opie. That was a good moment.
Oh, yeah, it really was. Yeah.
You're going to feel what she felt in the last moments. Please, Opie, don't. Where was her mercy? We were talking about moments in Sons of Anarchy, and we deduced that there are no good moments, just less bad ones. They're all pretty awful. Half sack. He had one ball, and he got murdered. Like, that dude couldn't catch a break. And the girl he liked got fucked by Clay. Like, god damn, they did half sack dirty. Like, half sack and Juice, man.
Yeah, which to be fair was half the show's narrative. Clay fucking people in several different ways.
Right, either literally or metaphorically. They should have just called it Clay fucking people. It would have been a much more accurate title. Though the last 2 seasons would have been a bit rudderless in terms of the name. Do you spin off the show and call it Jack's fucking people then? It's more of a literal title at that point, but still. So we open up NWA Powerrr with the swashbuckling Magnus. Nick Aldis, my bad. I don't know if I love that little twirl he does or if I hate it.
Oh, so glad you brought that up. It looks stupid.
Right? But, like, is that, like, a great stupid, like, am I going to pretend to do that when I get out of the shower? Like, because let's be honest, as big of a dick, and as much as no one likes him, every once in a while we still throw up the Randy Orton, hey, arm stretch, right? Like, we all do it once in a while. We all think he's a giant putz, but, like, it's dumb. But we want to be dumb. So is this twirl going to be the new dumb thing that we all end up liking, but we secretly don't? But we pretend that we hate it and just do it anyway? I don't know.
I don't think it is. I mean, I think it fits with him and it goes. It's just, and it's funny. He's been doing that ever since his Impact days.
Yeah, but the jacket makes it even more dumb.
Yeah, it's like him. It's like that's his motion for going retro.
We're going retro. I both
Now
love and
that
hate
is
that.
dumb. Not debatable. That's stupid.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's the dumbest. So he's out here calling out Trevor Murdoch, intentionally trying to get Jim Cornette to say something racist, I'm sure. And Murdoch's all out. He's all just like, we're going to fight. And Murdoch's like, all right. My name is Trevor Murdoch. I like chicken. I like steak. I like chicken steak. Chicken fried steak. Steak fried chicken.
I just like how he was kind of, he kept giving him, like, he kind of completely up and down backhanded promo on him the whole time.
Right.
While trying to put himself over. And when he got in the ring, because it's not like Murdoch was trash talking, he was like, okay, all right, just get your ass on in here. And then he started giving him that work. And then all I could imagine was Apollo's trainer for Rocky IV. This is supposed to be an exhibition. And Magnus is going. As he's got the ropes kicked into his Twin Peaks.
That's so accurate, it hurts. We're going to be building some hurting bombs. I still stand by the statement. Rocky 2 and Rocky 6 are the only two good Rockies. I said it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I said it. Come fight me. Rocky 6 is fantastic, though. Like, it's the best of the series, man. Like, honest to God. You know you used to fit in this hand? You're 5'4". No, he didn't. I don't care how many steroids you take, Sylvester.
Between the speech he gave the people, the athletic commission, and the speech he gave his son, the movie was set.
Right? They should have called it Rocky Motivational Speaker. So Aldis beats Trevor Murdoch in a non-title match, and at the end of the match, he says something fantastic. He's like, "You're a crafty bastard. Shake my hand." All right. Not entirely sure what that means, but fair. James Storm at the end of the show would come out and basically say, hey, you're facing all of these ne'er-do-wells. You should be facing the top competition. You should be defending your belt. Fight me. And honestly, I don't mind that all of this is facing these ne'er-do-wells. One of the things I think you have to realize when you're doing wrestling TV show is you need to build up the champions. That's kind of why, like, I'm not for guys like Sami Callihan and Brian Cage losing all the time, because you need to make sure your top guys are your top guys. So I like that Aldis is getting these fluff wins because at least it's showing some consistency.
I mean, yeah, and even though he is, another thing we're not used to a lot of times is these heel champions being proactive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a proactive heel champion. Like, he's basically just backing up the stuff he talks. Now, this may not be the consistent, concise competition that you want for him every week, but it is competition. You are seeing him. He is winning. He is backing up what he's saying, and he is, looking, feeling, and doing champion-like things, which is not something we're used to. It's clear that he isn't Joe Schmo or anybody else on the roster, and when you got guys like James Storm and Eli Drake gunning for you and saying, look, man, like, he can talk all that noise he wants to. He's basically ducking all the real challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that kind of builds it up from both sides. So that was great. And then of course we're gonna get to the other side of what happened with Storm later because this audience was really good this episode.
I'm fine with all this with all this because it saves the big matches for the big moments, and you get to pad his resume. So, I say more of this, please. Speaking of more is less or less is more, the Rock and Roll Express came out and they're like, hey, look at our 9 heads. They're
Just
huge. So they're coming out. They're in line to get the tag team titles next. Not sure how they're getting a title shot, but they are. I guess it's because they're old. I guess when you get your AARP card, you get a free tag team title match. Oh.
ARP, but Par and ARP.
Par and ARP. Hey, did you get your ARP card yet? Yeah, I did. Dental and eye. Sweet.
When you said 9 head, all I could think about was the saying from Hydra, except related to hair. Lose 1 follicle, 2 foreheads, just take its place.
Is that the Tito Ortiz method?
That means that's been happening since birth.
Dude, his forehead grew a forehead, for Christ's sakes. I don't even mean that to be a dig. Look at his head. It looks like his forehead has grown a forehead.
Oh,
now,
man.
Berto Patron's going to be kicking that forehead. That dude's going to break a foot. So, what do you think about the Rock and Roll Express getting a tag team title shot?
I dig it. I mean, it also kind of falls in line. I mean, because they already didn't they get a title shot at the
anniversary show?
Well, yeah, the anniversary show, and it also kind of follows the track of what we got with Tim Storm.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not as thoroughly in depth as they went with that, but it does follow that. And these guys, look, man, they're active. It's not like they're just 2 old geezers that's coming out on canes and rolling in and poking people in the eye for 20 minutes. They can go, So I don't mind it. I mean, this is their old stomping grounds. Nobody knows, the stuff better than them. And like I said, it kind of falls into that place and continues that legacy because the whole point of this thing is that they're reinvigorating, obviously the NWA, but not forgetting, the foundation it stands on, which would really be a travesty if they tried to do something like that. So, I dig and I like the fact that these guys are all over the place from AEW to the NWA and God knows where else, House of Glory. They're all over the place. They are really having, one of those late career runs, and it's fun to see.
If the Young Bucks are Ferraris and the Hardy Boys are dirt bikes, the Rock and Roll Express are those mall scooters. They can go. It's going to take them a while, though. So next up, we got... Oh, shit, what was this? It was a High Spots Wrestling commercial. That's what it was.
Yeah.
This was a pretty cool thing because it's a real commercial, just like we were getting with the retro. We're going retro commercials. So I appreciate when they actually put on real commercials. I'm hoping these are actually paying for the ad time because I know the Retromania is not paying for ad time, but that's a mutual collaboration. So of course, why would they? The NWA would benefit as well. But I hope this was a ad space that was bought and paid for because Billy Corgan came out and said, "Hey, guess what? This ain't sustainable." Or maybe it was Dave Lagana who said that. But
Chad, it's Billy Christopher Corgan, or what? Did I get that right?
William Patrick Corgan.
William Patrick Corgan.
Hi guys, William Patrick Corgan here to tell you about the Circle Squared, our new show that we can't afford to do, where wrestlers you don't care about, who you never heard of, are gonna cut promos for 20 minutes. That doesn't sound like a show you'd want to see? Oh.
I want to see your Circle Square?
Yeah. You want to see your circles, triangles? You want to see your squares, pentagonal? 2 lines equals a circle. When I heard that they were doing that dumb circled square, the first thing that came to my head was Popo. All these squares make a circle. All these squares make a circle. All these squares make a circle. Kami, tell me I can leave the lighthouse, the lighthouse or whatever it's called. Mr. Popo, you can leave the lookout. Don't tell me what to do, bitch.
Oh, Kami. Kami.
Kami. Dragon Ball Z Abridged is amazing, and there's no debate about that. So we then go to a opener, or not an opener, but a promo segment. It's Joe Galley, Jim Cornette, looking like he just made a racist joke, and Colt Cabana. Colt's just looking at Jim, going, "You gonna make a Jewish joke next, Jim? I dare ya." Because Colt's Jewish. So Colt's sitting there with his NWA National Championship, and he kind of said something that perked my ears. He kind of said that the NWA National Championship was for everyone. So I wonder if they're going to try to make this like the people's title, as opposed to Nick Aldis's NWA World's Championship, which is the elite of the elite titles. I don't know if they're going to do that, but if they do, it'll be very interesting. I'm curious to see how they spin that into a thing. But, of course, this is nothing more than to set up a match, which is Ricky Starks versus the Question Mark. Now, Marcus, are you a fan of the Question Mark, who is apparently super fucking over?
Not with this guy. This guy is over the Question Mark already. And the fact that somehow he managed to bring Stevens back makes me even more over this guy for doing that. Stevens appears not to be a man of his word, because I could have swore that he quit.
But the Question Mark has the power of the karate chop.
Oh yes, the snooker stab, right? The superfly stab he gave my boy Starks.
That's snooker. Nope, not gonna make that joke.
Oh,
not gonna make that joke. Nope.
Okay, hardcore rock. Spike.
The Umaga ring finger spike.
Wait,
I got it. I got it. The Rikishi car into Stone Cold spike. Because every time he throws it, there it is. I did it for the Rock. I did it for the people. Shut up, you fatty. You fat thong wearing fatty.
Thong wearing fatty.
That's your cousin, Rock. God damn. Whew. So the match ends in a DQ, if I remember correctly, because Aaron Stevens came down, and he started beating up on Ricky Starks. And what I loved is Colt's on commentary going, "He doesn't have a friend in the back, I bet. Doesn't have a friend." 30 minutes later, man doesn't have a single person on his back. I guess I'll help. All right, I'm gonna go help now. Colt, do something, guys. Like, what are you doing? Colt finally jumps in.
I was shining my belt that only has 3 plates.
Right. Finally jumps in and goes to swing the belt at Aaron Rex, or Aaron Stevens. One of those is right. And the heels buck and dive, and I guess the Question Mark's a heel now. I don't know. So here we are. Ricky Starks is the face. I thought he was a heel. I don't know what's going on anymore. Oh, that's right. I do have a photo of this. I love Colt's face. He's so perplexed and shocked. Like, what? No. Kind of like that scene from, what's that fucking movie called? The Happening. You're gonna kill me in my sleep. What? No. So then we get the man. Excuse me. We get the man with the undeniable Kavorka. It's Eli Drake. Eli Drake. It's in the game, and he's all like, "Hey, let me talk to you, Mr. Anderson. You like to talk, but you're old. You're like 3.5 years older than I am. I'm going to send your ass back because you're old. And Anderson comes out and is like, I'm not as old as I once was, but I'm as good as I ever. I fucked the line up. I
Could be.
don't know. What is it?
Like how you said, he's however many years past his sell-by date.
Right. Like, that's cute, Eli. That's cute. So they're building up to Eli versus Anderson. I don't know how I feel about that. How do you feel about Eli versus Anderson? Like on the mic, I'm digging it. In the ring, I don't know.
It might turn out to be a pleasant surprise in the ring, but I definitely dig it on the mic. And again, it kind of feels like, in a way, it's good because we're getting Eli interacting with a lot of these guys, and having him go toe to toe with somebody like Anderson on the mic. I think is quality television for weeks. But it does kind of seem like they're keeping finding ways to keep him and Storm out of Aldis's immediate orbit. Like they poking that bear, but it's like, okay, who's gonna go get the who's gonna get the honey to get this guy in their trap. So I think this could work. It's depending on if everybody is in the kind of like gets out of that old mood, like they come to work. Not saying that Eli doesn't, but we haven't seen a lot of Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been and so I think it could be a pleasant surprise if they get some good time and they can have the matches they want to have. Because I think this probably could have been a real good pay-per-view match on Impact. Back in had they crossed paths back then. But yeah, I dig it. I think, like I said, they can get weeks worth out of this feud, and considering the fact they look like they're going to revisit or reignite this feud between Stevens and Starks for whatever reason. I think this is more watchable than that. So.
What are you saying? You don't want to see Ricky Starks face off with Aaron Sandow? That's the money feud.
Aaron Sandow.
So
I bid that feud adieu.
You bid it adieu. Speaking of adieu, we cut to the women's tag team match. It's Ashley Vox, which is just a fun name to say. Ashley Vox. I'm quite a fan. And Allison Kay. Not as much fun to say. Allison Kay? Allison Porke? And they're taking on Marty Bell and Thunder Rosa, and they're talking about the Phoenix returning, and the Phoenix returned, and it's goddamn Melina. Like, what? So they're going with a Hispanic kind of themed group. She's kind of got this, Dias de Muertes look, this Mil Muertes bride of kind of gimmick. Marty Bell is going full dark mode with a more simplified set of trunks, and Thunder Rose has already been rocking these skull paints. So clearly this is going to have some dark, ominous tones to it. Marcus, thoughts?
I mean, look, she looked stunning. Looked like she almost tripped up a little bit coming down those steps, but she looked great. I dug the match. The match was hard hitting. I mean, Allison had one goal in mind. That was to kick ass. It kind of felt like she just had Vox tag along so she could actually have the match because she couldn't fight him by herself because obviously that's what she wanted to do. But yeah, we got some good stuff out of it. Like you said, hard hitting stuff. It even feels like Marty stepped her game up. Because when what it was, yeah, she got pinned, and I saw them try to cut away from that angle because they kind of had. It looked like Kay was twerking from the mat with the way they did the angle. Well, yeah, she got a good pin on her off the distraction, and then Marty immediately followed up with like a rolling forearm smash, and then our girl Rosa followed up with that stomp off the top. It all looked great, and now we have this emerging faction against this young lady who just so happens to be the champion. It seems like she is in far more trouble than she would have thought 2 weeks ago when she was out here scouting matches, exhibition matches, talking trash. How the tables have turned, Mrs. Powers. So
That
this is some good stuff.
that double stomp was ferocious.
Yeah.
Like, I felt bad for I think it was Ashley Vox who had to take it. So, yikes. I love Thunder Rosa. She's as safe as can be, but that looked bad, which is a testament to talent, and also probably hurt to take. So it is what it is. So then the main event rolls around: Starks and Cabana versus Aaron Stevens and the question mark. Question mark wins by hitting a fucking karate chop on Ricky Starks. I don't know. This main event is weird. This show sometimes strikes me as peculiar.
Yeah.
Marcus, thoughts
Yeah.
on the question mark going over in this match?
I'm good. Um, I'm good on the question mark. I'm a Starks fan. I like to see him rack up some more wins. I get it. But I'm just not into this question mark. He literally looks like he stinks. Um, which may be the selling point,
He
but
looks
I'm just not
odorous.
into it. Yeah, he looks odorous. Love that. Yeah, odorous. The odorous one himself. And again, Stevens is hit or miss depending on what he's doing. Most times miss for me. So I get it, but it was weird. And we was talking about how we didn't necessarily like the Dawsons essentially being pushed so heavily. I'd take them any day over this guy. Because at least I can know they can put in some work in between the ropes, specifically in like hardcore situations, which
Mm-hmm.
I can appreciate. But this guy, I don't care to see this dude. Like he literally looks like he should be in one of these ads every week instead of in the ring.
I wonder who it is, because I feel like it's somebody that we know. That's going to be the interesting question. And when will they answer it? That's the also interesting part.
Before or after Camille talks, we shall find
Yeah,
out.
we'll find out. James Storm came out, as we mentioned before, at the end of the show. Camille then walks out, whispers in his ear, and leaves. And James went, "Sorry about your damn luck." Camille looking fit, though.
Camille looking,
Whew.
Booker T will say, "Good, good," and I love how somebody's like, "What did she just say to you?" And then some lady out who was talking, who her voice stood out more than anybody else's in the audience the whole show. And she was like, "She said you could get it." That made the episode for me.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, we had Thom and his buddy, and they're like, "Hey, what's your relationship status with Camille?" And Thom was all like, "We're friends." Oh, are you Gerard Butler? You're friends? Okay. This
And
is a lie.
why does the other one look like a little facial hair Thomas Jane?
Right? Like, why does this feel like you guys are a 1980s bully duo where Thom is all like, "I'm going to beat your ass," and then the other one's like, "Yeah, man, it's gonna beat your ass. He's gonna kick your ass up
But,
down the
but
street, man."
yeah, by the way, Brown, considering the fact that 2 seconds before we asked you that question, you were ready to look like you were gonna choke him. Clearly, you're hitting that.
Well, considering his record with domestic violence, I don't know if that's the proper turn of phrase.
uh,
Oh. Bram got arrested for detaining a woman against her will. So, the NWA doesn't have perfect hiring practices. Again, Jim Cornette makes a somewhat vague, racially insensitive joke. Thom Latimer arrested for illegal detaining of a woman.
well, yeah, I mean, Ted, because we had to put that now in the category with Orton in the hearsay category because we didn't see it. You're just saying it happened, but we saw Cornette offend us. Therefore, it hits home harder. He's still the number one bad guy.
Listen, if not Fred Andrews, what's Fred's last name in Scooby Doo? Him. If Fred from Scooby Doo is going on record saying he would not touch Randy Orton, I'm believing Fred from Scooby Doo. Of course, I'm referencing to, Freddie Prinze Jr., who played Fred in Scooby Doo. So, yeah, anyone from Scooby Doo automatically has my trust. Just letting y'all know. Speaking of Randy Orton, by the way, what would you give this week's power? Power.
I'd give this week's episode a C, just straight up C.
I think I'll give it a C plus. I know you weren't a fan of the question mark, but to see how the crowd reacted to him for some reason was charming. I didn't get it. I don't like it, but I appreciate it. So let's talk Randy Orton, because this is some dumb drama. So CM Punk posted a tweet saying, "I'm doing what I can. There's some bright spots. There's bad too. I'm going to talk about it on his new Fox show, and no one is safe." Then he tagged Renee Young, WB on Fox, Booker T, Paige, Vince McMahon, and Tony Khan. Tony Khan replies with, "No one is safe. Sounds like a plane full of wrestlers in Saudi Arabia. Sick burn." Orton replies with, "What's the whole thing about glass houses and stones?" And he links to a article about Shadid Khan, Tony's father, being investigated for corruption, which was eventually debunked according to Tony. Tony's whole reply was, "I thought you only tagged me in your posts when you were grasping for leverage. That article's over a year plus old. It's about baseless claims made about my dad from years ago. That's the best you can do. Nothing. Meanwhile, in the time since that was written, you used the N-word on Twitch." Which he did. We were there for that.
Like, oh, you need some water? Why? Because Tony Khan just threw your ass into the fire.
Applaud for that. Orton replied with, "Jacksonville, Dixie. Why else would I tag you? If I wanted to talk business, I'd call your father." Brandy replies to the N-word on Twitch tweet with a photo of a gif of boxers and one knocking out the other. Then Charlotte decides to put on her big, dumb, goofy clown face and tweeted with a eye-rolling emoji with please, like, an exacerbated please, only for Brandy to reply with a clown face in return. So apparently Charlotte Flair's kosher with Randy Orton using racial slurs and sexually harassing colleagues, which I'm not surprised about. She seems like a terrible human being anyway. So that's just my take on it. Marcus.
For as busy as these people claim to be, they sure got a lot of goddamn time to be scoping out these tweets.
Right. They're so petty, they're dick petty.
And Orton seemed like he had that file saved on his phone of that article.
Right?
What?
Like, that was really convenient. It's almost like Randy Orton was trying to have his ability to hold that against Tony in any future negotiations. It did not work out well. But Orton's like a trash bag human being. I don't know why anyone would defend him. And considering just the things we know that he's done, imagine the things we don't know about. Like, he's got a history of bullshit to his name.
And even going to, bouncing off of that, it is amazing to me that no matter how shitty this company is, and we get it, brand loyalty, I do the same for us. But we also, think for ourselves and wouldn't defend something that's outright like ridiculous. Like, I remember, like, when you told me that story, what happened with that interview with a former employee that didn't go so well. That was not really something that you could defend. And you wouldn't, because it was outright, not in the best professional manner. So it's ridiculous to me when half the damn roster came out and basically shitted on that scenario. When somebody else who was in the same industry comes out and says something about it, all of a sudden the shitty situation is then coveted and protected by said people because of brand solidarity.
It's like, do you think it's brand solidarity, or do you think it's a paycheck solidarity?
I feel like I don't know. It's like one of those maybe it's professional Stockholm syndrome. Like I know he's shit. Like I know he's an abuser, but he's my abuser. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like you don't get to say anything about my bully. Like you, like what? Like
That's.
can you see me right now out of both your black eyes, or just are you guessing right now?
Oh. Oh. You know Charlotte was married to Bram, right?
Oh well, well now she's completely tranquilo right now. So you tranquilo.
So, I think this whole ordeal really just shows you that one, Charlotte's big dumb. Two, Randy Orton is the biggest piece of shit that wrestling can muster. Tony Khan looks like he's a 20-year-old in college who just got laid for the first time. I don't know what's going on, and I don't really care. This is great drama, and I want it to be a thing forever.
Yeah, yeah. I mean the pettiness in this particular industry is hilarious to say the least, and it's ironic that I didn't even know what I may have been or not inferring because I wasn't even thinking about Charlotte's past relationships when I was bringing up that abuser stuff. But yeah, that apparently is a thing. But yeah, I mean, you would think that somebody who is apparently over the 20 executives in AEW wouldn't have time to go back and forth. I mean, I think Orton has time because clearly he has a very unique contract. And if he got time to live stream himself on Twitch, apparently saying the N word and then apparently going on about his mad way, he got time to jabber back and forth with people on Twitter. And Charlotte is just in Charlottesville. So, um, yeah, like you said, if nothing else, it's entertaining drama. But it comes off as corny. And just like I said, it makes Orton and Charlotte look. Well, Charlotte just jumps into stupid situations from time to time, but Orton defending that crap playing situation just because somebody outside the company says something about it. That's just dumb. Like I get it, you're WWE through and through, but that situation was ass.
Yeah.
When you got people's wives coming out saying like, I don't give a damn what happens. My husband's not going back over to that, that F fest you call a show, town or whatever. It's a problem. And so the fact that they just feel the need to go, like God forbid, Meltzer comes out and errantly says anything else about female on that roster.
Right.
He might get a house call.
Watch out, Peyton Royce. The real victim here. The whole thing is just petty as fuck. And it's dumb, and Orton's a scumbag, and things. So, we have to bring this up because it's a point of interest, but it may not be anything relevant. Biff Busick, a.k.a. Oni Lorcan, tweeted out a few days ago that he has requested his release from the WWE. Now, as of the recording right now, there has not been any mention as to Lorcan Busick's status with the company. But he's changed his name on Twitter to Biff Busick. And he cut a promo that he posted earlier today, where he said that he was going to Progress to fight. Now, Progress does have a loose working relationship with the WWE as of right now. It could be far more intimate than we are aware of. But if Busick is going to Progress, it might be a sign that he's been granted his release or will be granted his release. Marcus, one, do you think Lorcan should be released? Two, would you like to see him do the independent thing? And three, how far off base do you think we are to assume that he's been released?
Yeah, I do think he should be released. I think him and everybody else that's requesting to get released should be released because I don't know, and we talk about this again all the time. Why would you want to keep somebody who doesn't want to be there? But again, Petty LaBelle is WWE. Two, I would like to see him back on the independents because I think he's one of those great smash mouth guys that can really get in there with anybody and tear it up. And like I said, I liked him with Danny Burch. I thought they was a great smash mouth team that could have at one point taken those NXT tag straps, but I think they ended up falling into that situation where they was always the team to give the other team the good hard fought rub. And
Mm-hmm.
I think they kind of separate them and put them back together on a whim. And I think they after a certain amount of time they would eventually split them up. I think they may have showed up in NXT UK a couple times, but it was just a lot of inconsistencies. And if you're not gonna put them as a team and then have them go all the way, and then you separate them and then just make them very hard fought losers at the end of the day, um, yeah, it's just kind of treaded water, unnecessarily treaded water, and I can see why you would feel like he could thrive elsewhere. So definitely would like to see that. And what was that third one?
Uh...
And how far off are we from something? How far off are we from?
do you think he has been released?
Uh, I don't. I don't think so. Because I think him like other guys that put the ball in WWE's court. But then like you said, he did say he'd see them what in progress
Yeah, this
for
weekend.
upcoming shows. So I don't know. Does WWE have a working relationship with those guys?
They do to a point. One of their guys that they just hired from Progress, Jim Smallman, used to run most of it behind the scenes. But the thing that really caught my eye, though, was even if there is a loose working relationship there, he's allegedly going there, assuming that he's allowed to go. He's allegedly going there as Biff Busick, which is his indie name, not his WWE name or Oni Lorcan. So I don't know if they're giving him a name change, a gimmick change, or what, but definitely does kind of smell a little funky at the moment.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine he'd just go there and show up. I mean, that could be contract violation, and they could really get you for anything they feel like they're the people that take you to court and then change the laws according to their feelings
Yep.
in terms of those contracts. I imagine. So, yeah, I don't know, but I would imagine not just because they like to have their hands around your neck until they don't feel like choking anymore. So, but we have seen some defiant talent before, but and maybe he is one of those guys, but I'd probably lend my confidence in WWE hasn't done that yet because what number is he of the guys that are publicly requested their release? What, fifth?
4,568.
So maybe they're getting tired of it, and maybe lower profile guys like they may deem him, they may let slide and kind of scoot out the company under the radar. But like I said, they petty, man. So I don't see it. But again, maybe they told him something that he didn't tell us. So
Yeah, very possible. So before we go, this kind of just came across the wire that I think is interesting because there's been some more talk about it than ever before. Um, from Rhino, talked to the Mirror, and they asked him about unions in wrestling, and he says, quote, "It wouldn't work. It would kill the industry. When you look at unions for things like movies, it works because movies are planned so far in advance, and actor and actresses get the scripts and have to accept it or turn it down. But wrestling is so fast paced and it changes that it just wouldn't work. I come from Detroit, which is a union town, so I get having unions in certain industries, but it wouldn't work in wrestling. It would kill the independent scene and a lot of startup promotions. Lots of states in America have commissions and stuff that creates more hoops for them to jump through, and we all know that most companies don't make a lot of money as it is, so to have these extra hurdles would kill a lot of companies. It would kill the charity shows that I run, which cost me at least $1,000 as it is. A union would not be good for wrestlers, fans, or promoters, and it would kill the industry." Now, I've long had this idea of unions, going back from my own personal experiences, that they are both helpful in certain situations and problematic in others. Unions are not a cure-all for industry issues because unions cause issues within the workforce. They take money
yeah,
from the workforce. Now, that's not to say that unions are bad. Unions
Yeah.
have a place and they have a purpose, but they are not universally something that I think should always be a thing. Like, I will never join a writers union. I won't. I will never kowtow to an industry's standard that I have to abide by. I am a creative entity and I will write for whomever I like, for whenever I like, for however long I like, for whatever prices that I deem that I am worth. A union's not going to help me there. But I understand that if you're in a different line of work, say auto industry or shipping or something like that, unions are truck, over the road shipping. Those you need unions because oftentimes you are basically mandated to keep a very unhealthy lifestyle just to abide by a certain standard. I work in an industry as a writer where I can accept or turn down assignments as I please. So I can work as much as I want or as little as I want. Being union doesn't help me there. It would only make the lack of money that I'm trying to keep even more lacked because they would be taking it from my pocket. And I think there's a certain truth to that in pro wrestling. If you try to unionize, one of the big things that's going to happen is that these union folks are going to start taking money from you, and you're not going to see much, if any, of an increase in pay. So now you're going to lose 25% to the union. And that money is not going to be something that you can really, have a say in. You have a union rep, sure, but at the end of the day, the union's going to do what the union's going to do. And I hate to be that guy, but I'm going to bring up the fact that Italians, my people, were very big fans of the unions because we were able to corrupt them. We were able to make them basically the worst things in the world. There are not good, there are not good ideas for a wrestling union. I don't know what good it does. You're not going to be able to get health care because what you're going to end up doing is having these companies close. So what's the point? At the end of the day, what's the point? That's the real question. Like, do you want change? You can do that without forming a union. If John Cena tomorrow said, if a wrestler wants to be released, he should be released. But he doesn't want to say that. So, there's a lot you can do without unionizing. And when you unionize, there does become a bit of a concern that things will change so drastically that it'll be untenable. And people don't realize that. They just assume that it's going to make everything good. And that's, not true. There's no guarantee that a union in wrestling is going to be beneficial for the talent because the talent aren't being forced to do anything. The WWE might need a union because that's a different standard. They are being forced to do things. But you don't need a union in Impact because if you don't want dates, you don't need to take dates. You don't need to sign a contract. If you stay as a genuine independent talent, then why would you need a union? You can't be punished for not taking work. That's your prerogative. You can't be punished for taking more work than you want or than people recommend. Now, again, in the WWE, that's a different standard. And I think one of the things that would truly end up killing the idea of a union is if the WWE generally treated their talents as independent contractors. You can come and go as you please. There's a non-compete clause while you're here. But if you want to void your end of the deal, you can. And if they did that, there'd be no need for a union. But, until that day comes, there will still be union talk. I don't know if it's a death sentence for the industry or if it's a boom for the industry. But this is going to be one of those things that you have to talk about and find out for yourselves because I've seen firsthand how underhanded the union tactics can be when it comes to getting rid of people from the union itself. So, it's still a bureaucracy. It's still just more paperwork. I don't know why people would want to add even more hurdles, as Rhino described it, to an already complicated situation. That's just my take. Marcus, I don't know if you have an opinion on unions in wrestling.
I'm with the both. I mean, obviously, you have far more experience than me with stuff like that, and I'm definitely not gonna question Ronald for as long as he's been around. And even with that, he's always come off as a well-spoken, intelligent guy that just makes smart, logical decisions. When it comes to wrestling and stuff with stuff he's done and outside of it. So I think he's right. I also think, and I forgot who said it. Was it Jesse Ventura, who's one of those guys who's been pushing out, hasn't even been pushing for like the industry to unionize for years or try to do it in WWE?
Yeah, he's been pushing it from the Pacific coast of Mexico, though. So, he's super
No.
invested in the cause.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, man, I mean, and I forgot who said it, but somebody said another reason why, the whole union thing wouldn't follow through is just because you couldn't, you uh somebody was like, you can't even get all these guys to agree on, what's for lunch. You think you could get them to agree on, this whole union deal? So, and I think a lot of guys would, just rather be creatively stifled and paid up the ass, like a lot of guys are in WWE who have made the active decision, like, hey man, if I'm gonna be maligned, I might as well be, I might as well have a couple houses while I'm being, while I'm doing it. So, um, yeah, it's the rather be the line from Blade too, rather be a pet than cattle. You know, I can sit over here and kind of waste away, uh, or be perceived to waste away and have a crap ton of money and own my car, my house, and whatever else. And hey, there's a new woman in the division that I could possibly marry. And that whole deal. Then really go out and try to stand on the whole independent contract thing. Like you said, end up in a deeper financial hole than they were before they got to WWE and got to the point where they could be essentially bribed to not go anywhere else. So, you want to work smarter, not harder. If you're going to end up working harder and not have a lot to show for it, with the whole union thing, I don't know if it's the smartest idea. So I got to, 100% go with you guys.
It's definitely a sticky wicket, and you think about like public schools. There's literally riders within these union contracts that state you can't fire a teacher without cause, meaning that if they're bad at what they do, you can't fire them. That's a problem because they're taking money from the school district and they are very ineffective. I had many teachers that were bad at their jobs. Marcus, I would ask them questions like, why is this equation in math the way it is? And oftentimes I would get the answer of, it just is. That's a terrible fucking job explaining to me why this thing is supposed to work the way it does. Now, if you're a professional and someone asks you a question, you say just is, you get fired because it's clear you don't know what you're talking about. And that's one of the things that I worry about for a wrestlers union is we already have a hard enough time navigating and handling these personalities in a real sense. What's it going to be like when you start telling companies that you can't fire these guys unless they're found guilty of crimes? Well, that becomes extremely problematic. And that's going to be one of the things that people look for because unions are always looking for the best deal for the base of people they represent, even if it means that it's a destructive thing for the general industry that they work within. So, like I said, it's a very tricky situation, and it's not one that I would, be too eager to explore at the moment. It's just one of those things that there's too many variables to have a clear, concise point of view. There's a lot of negatives and positives for both, but I think it's more of a negative than a positive with what I understand from it at this point.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's Val Kilmer told Jim Carrey's Edward Nigma. It just raises too many questions.
Or you could go with George Clooney's friend, brother, partner. Oh no, that was Val Kilmer. My bad. That was Val Kilmer. So, any final things you want to bring up on tonight's show?
Oh no, no, that's pretty much. I don't think no, nothing else came up. Thankfully, we aren't getting any. There won't be any more deaths before the year's out in the
Well,
industry.
I don't know. That seems like a giant jinx. I hope not. There's a few names I wouldn't mind seeing cross off that list, though. Terrible people deserve terrible things done to them. So, with all that being said, let's say goodnight. We'll be back Thursday for a review of All Wheels Wrestling. Marcus, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this. Oh, it's such trash. So you can find Marcus on Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
Yes, sir.
You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, at True Penny Show or at True Penny Podcast.
At True Penny Show.
At True Penny Show on Twitter. TruePennyShow. You can find me on Twitter at Chad Nerdcorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on the Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. You can also find us on Twitter at the website's Twitter account, which is Nerdcorp, Nerdcorp, and on Instagram at Real Nerdcorp, RealNerdcorp. The website's realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdcorp.com. We have a bunch of new articles coming up this week, so you want to tune in and check those out. They're pretty interesting. We are also on twitch.tv/Comic and GameCorp and twitch.tv/WrestlingUnderground. Be sure to follow us on Twitch. And if you are on YouTube, follow us and subscribe to us on the YouTube at the links below or to the side or wherever the fuck they are, depending on where you're listening to us at. We're also on Podbean at realnerdcorp.podbean.com, or if you want to take us on the go via the Podbean app, you can do so. Download it to your mobile device today. It's free. Don't worry about it. Search for us on that free app at Real Nerdcorp and begin listening to us on the go as soon as you want. We're also on iTunes at Nerdcorp, Nerdcorp on iTunes. We are also on Teesprings at teesprings.com/stores/Nerdcorp. Real Nerdcorp. Hang on. Let me double check. We are on at teesprings.com/stores/Nerdcorp. So I was right the first time. So be sure to check us out there. Again, we'll be back Thursday. We're going to be talking All Wheels Wrestling. We're going to probably touch on the Charlie's Angels stuff because that's big dumb. and I have opinion. And we will review the entirety of The Mandalorian as soon as it's done airing in like 5 weeks or whatever it is. So tune in for that. Did I miss anything, Marcus? I don't think so.
Mm.
All right. Well, then, with all that being said, be sure to tune in Thursday, 9 p.m., twitch.tv/Wrestling Underground, as we talk about the greatest pilot of pro wrestling to never make it to the air, All Wheels Wrestling. For Marcus Green, I'm Chad Porter. This has been another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for giving us a chance. Be sure to tune in as the weeks go on, and remember to watch more wrestling. Marcus, take us home.
Good night.